Hi, everybody. Back for more story time. And I have a new book for you today, and we're going to do something a little bit different this time. So, for the next couple days, rather than me reading you a new picture book every day, I'm going to do what I've been doing on Facebook Live, and I'm going to read you one chapter a day out of an early reader chapter book. And I thought this one might be kind of fun because it's a book about libraries, and I'm your library teacher. So, I'm going to read you Help! I'm a prisoner in the library. I thought it might be fun. So I'm going to start it today and I'm going to read you a chapter a day. It's a pretty short book, so we'll finish it pretty fast. And then when that's done, let me know how you like it. Leave me a comment, let me know. And then maybe we'll do some more picture books. Maybe we'll read another easy chapter book. So just keep watching. Let me know your thoughts and we'll go from there. So today we're going to start Help! I'm a Prisoner in the Library by Clifford, and it is published by Scholastic Inc., and I am reading this with permission from Scholastic Inc. Help! I'm a prisoner in the library. Chapter 1. Last Minute Harry. The whole thing was really Mr. One Tree's fault. At least, that's what Mary Rose thought. It began because her father didn't stop for gas in time. The needle pointed to empty. Mary Rose called Mr. One Tree's attention to that fact every time they passed a gas station. "I've told you 100 times," Mr. One Tree said. "I can still go another 10 or 15 miles. Easy." There was no use trying to talk to her father. Mary Rose knew that. Mr. One Tree never took care of anything until the very last minute. When it came time to pay his taxes, he stood in line at the post office to get his letters mailed just before the midnight deadline. When he had to get new license plates, he always wound up on the last day of the month at the end of the line that went all the way around the block. Mrs. One Tree called him Last Minute Harry. Mr. One Tree had waited till the last minute to go take Mary Rose and her sister Jo Beth, who were asleep on the back seat of the car, to stay with their Aunt Madge. "It's beginning to snow," Mrs. One Tree had warned her husband. "I'd like to see Mary Rose and Jo Beth settled in with Madge before I go to the hospital." Before Mr. One Tree could answer, she went on, "I'm the one having the baby, Harry, so don't tell me there's lots of time." "I don't see why we need another baby around here," Jo Beth said. "I think 2 girls in the family are plenty." Jo Beth had liked the idea of going to visit Aunt Madge, who had just moved to Indianapolis, but she didn't think she should be pushed out of her own house because a new baby was coming. It was probably going to be a boy anyway, because that's what her father kept hoping it would be, and there would be lots of fuss over it. "Wait and see," she told Mary Rose darkly. "You'll probably have a boy," Jo Beth had said, getting what her mother called the gloomy Gus look on her face. "And we'll probably all be standing here till doomsday," Mrs. One Tree had answered impatiently, trying to push her family out the door. "I'll drop them off and come right back," Mr. One Tree had promised. "As soon as I can, anyway. I figure it's a good 2 hours there and another 2 hours back." "Don't speed. Mary Rose, make sure your father doesn't speed. And you watch that gas gauge, too. When it's down to a quarter of a tank, you remind your father to stop at a gas station. Don't let him wait till the last minute." "I know I can depend on you, Mary Rose," her mother had said. So Mary Rose had watched the gauge, and she had reminded her father when the needle moved way down below the quarter tank mark. But it hadn't helped. And now here they were, pulled over into the curb on some strange corner in Indianapolis. Mary Rose was surprised the car hadn't stopped dead right in the middle of the street. Jo Beth woke up. Are we there yet?" She rubbed the car window. "I can't see out. Why are we just sitting here?" "We're out of gas," Mary Rose said in her best I told you so voice. "And it's snowing harder." "You girls sit tight," Mr. One Tree said as he jumped out of the car. "I'm going to get the gas can from the trunk and jog over to that gas station we passed a few blocks back. Remember, stay in the car and keep the doors locked. I'll be back in a few minutes." "We'll freeze," Jo Beth said with satisfaction. "The snow will come down and cover the car and we'll freeze while you're gone." Mr. One Tree shook his head. How could these 2 sisters be so different? They looked very much alike with their fine straight brown hair and dark brown eyes and their bright smiles, except that Jo Beth's smile had a tooth missing in the front. Mary Rose was a practical-minded girl. Responsible. That's what Mary Rose was. Jo Beth, on the other hand, made a big deal out of everything. She could dramatize the smallest thing. Freeze! Mr. One Tree shook his head. Cover yourself with a blanket if you get cold, and remember, keep the doors locked. The minute Mr. One Tree was out of sight, Jo Beth announced, I have to go to the bathroom. Why didn't you say something before? You could have gone to the gas station with Daddy. I didn't have to go then. I have to go now, Jo Beth added. It's an emergency. Ugh, you're just like Daddy. Everything at the last minute. You're just going to have to hold it. I can't hold it. It's an emergency, Mary Rose. Ugh, Mary Rose sighed. Well, maybe someone will let us in someplace. Come on. The two girls got out of the car. Mary Rose squinted her eyes half closed to keep the snow and the rising wind from cutting off her vision. There's a building down the street. They probably have a bathroom. Come on, Jo Beth, walk fast. It's cold. The snow was settling. Walking was a struggle. Jo Beth held her head down because the wind was nipping at her cheeks and nose. Mary Rose kept staring ahead so she could see how much farther they had to go. So it was Mary Rose who spotted the sign in front of a huge old house not far from the corner. The Finton Memorial Library, for children, hours 9 to 5 daily. Mary Rose pushed her sleeve back so she could see her watch. It would be 5 o'clock in about 5 minutes. Quick, Jo Beth, she shouted at her sister. We can go in here. It's a library. They always have a bathroom in the library. The girls hurried up the steps, which led to a wide stone porch that seemed to wrap itself around the front and sides of the house. Set back on the porch were two wide doors. The lower half of the doors was made of light and dark pieces of wood, set so they formed a diamond pattern. Smaller pieces of wood in the same design held large glass panels in place on the upper half of the doors. The glass seemed to have waves in it, like small ripples in a pond. When Mary Rose pushed the door open, the girls found themselves standing in an entryway. At least it's warm in here, Jo Beth said, brushing the snow from her jacket and jeans. Look at this floor. I never saw one like this before, said Mary Rose. The floor was made of mosaic, soft, colored blue and gray chips of stone that had been laid in place by hand, piece by piece. It has pictures in it. Jo Beth didn't care about the pictures on the floor. She was busy opening another door in the entry. Like the front door, this too was half wood and half glass. This isn't a library, Jo Beth said. This is somebody's house. No, it isn't. Look at all the books. There were books everywhere, on shelves, on tables, on carts, and on a large desk which Mary Rose guessed must belong to the librarian. The room the girls were standing in was quite large. Mary Rose had to lean her head way back to see the high decorated ceiling. The rich brown wood walls glowed in the light of an enormous crystal chandelier hanging in the center of the room. The chandelier had tiny glass droplets that made a slight tinkling sound caused by the breeze that had whistled in when the girls had opened the front door. They could see other rooms through a number of arched doorways. To their right, toward the back of the house, a wide, handsome stairway turned and twisted to an upper floor. The steps were covered with dark red carpeting. Across the bottom step, stretching from one banister to the other, was a black velvet twisted rope. In the middle of the rope was a sign with the words, Private, no admittance to the public. It was very, very quiet. There was no one in the room, not even a librarian. Where is everybody? Jo Beth asked in a hushed voice. Who would come out in this kind of weather to go to the library? Mary Rose demanded. Except us. Because of you and your emergencies. But where's the librarian? Jo Beth insisted. She's probably looking in all the rooms to make sure everybody's gone before she locks up and goes home, Mary Rose explained. She looked around. Sure is different. Hey, Jo Beth, look back there. That looks like some funny kind of old wagon in that back room, with people sitting in it. Mary Rose sounded excited. Come on, let's go see what it is. Jo Beth wasn't interested. When Mary Rose mentioned the emergency, she suddenly remembered why they were there. She caught sight of the sign that said restroom. An arrow pointed to the back of the house. I really have to go, Jo Beth warned. As Mary Rose walked to the back with her sister, she thought, I wish we had time to see if that really is a wagon with people in it. I wish we had lots and lots of time to stay here. I'll bet there are all kinds of interesting things to see in these other rooms. You crossed your fingers and closed your eyes. You made a wish, Jo Beth said knowingly as she rushed into the restroom. Mary Rose followed her sister with dragging steps. Maybe I can take a quick look on the way out, she told herself. Just one quick look before the librarian makes us leave. And that is the end of chapter 1 of Help, I'm a Prisoner in the Library. And I will make another video tomorrow for chapter 2. Bye.